Welcome back to our Line Opinion panel. We just heard from the mayor of Hobbs, which passed its abortion ordinance last November. Like other municipalities taking action like this, Hobbs cited the federal Comstock Act. Now, we've talked about that set of laws from the 1870s here on the show, and you'll hear more about it in Gwyneth's interview with a civil rights attorney in about 10 minutes. Now, the folks pushing these bans say it essentially prohibits the mailing of abortion pills, and these localities are using it as the bedrock of their ordinances. Now, abortion rights supporters say leaning on that Comstock Act is part of the strategy aimed at a national ban. But the mayor of Hobbs said the city leaders are just responding to what their constituents want. And Diane, if this is what the people in Hobbs and elsewhere want, does it matter where leadership dug up the foundation behind it? Meaning, why are we picking certain localities here? Is it really the people driving this?
I think that certainly they are being encouraged to action by specific individuals.
Okay.
Perhaps, I think we've mentioned earlier the gentleman from Texas and from others from out of state doing the pushing. But knowing quite a few of the people from that area, I believe that they very much believe in this. It's just like any issue.
Right.
Sometimes you have to have the little help to get the issue going. So yes, I think they do support this. I think they do believe this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that is, to me, so fascinating and also so constricting in many ways is these people on both sides believe with all their hearts that they're on the right side. And sometimes they do bring God into it, but it's very difficult to say, well, somebody's just leading them to the water. Well, you can't make them drink.
That's right.
And the commissioners did vote for it.
Good point.
And the people, but knowing the people from that area, I think very much they supported it.
Absolutely. Interesting, Martha, a clause in the Hobbs ordinance, sticking with Hobbs, labels abortion providers as racketeering enterprises. It's interesting. It encourages people to sue those providers under the federal civil RICO statute, the thing that was originally designed to go after the mob back east years ago, back in the 80s. Is that a viable legal strategy in your mind?
No, it's a stupid strategy.
Yeah.
I'll just have to say that. It's ridiculous. If they found an attorney to even take that, I'd say that person ought to be disbarred.
Right.
Because they don't know what they're doing. But back to the Comstock Act. I think it's an interesting ploy for people to say, well, this is what the people want in our town or our county or whatever. People don't get to vote on your fundamental rights. Right. They don't get a say in that. Now, the theocracy folks seem to think they do. But going back to the Comstock Act itself, the bedrock of that is a phrase that says obscene materials. Okay? Well, if we're going to enforce that, we didn't have Viagra back then, but we did probably have some form of condom. But if we're going to throw obscene materials at birth control pills, let's do it with condoms and Viagra.
It would seem to fit under the same...
It certainly would. If you want to call one thing obscene because it has to do with women, but the other because it does not, that seems to me to be sex discrimination on its face.
That's hard to argue, actually. It's interesting. At least the state Supreme Court is now considering the constitutionality of these ordinances, of course, as we know. After a petition from the AG, Raul Torres, was that a mistake? I got a question here. Did Mr. Torres make a mistake on possibly antagonizing the U.S. Supreme Court into a national abortion ban? Meaning, could he have maybe laid off just a little bit and not gotten engaged so quickly?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I haven't actually, throughout my reporting, I've reached out to his office a number of times and gotten statements from his, and answers to questions from his spokesperson, but I haven't talked to him about it specifically. I do think it's interesting that the petition only mentioned the 4 cities. It didn't mention kind of going forward, so that means Eunice and Edgewood were not actually included in that. As for moving to the federal Supreme Court, I don't know what's going to happen next. I think everybody's in kind of trying to figure out what to do in these uncharted waters right now.
We got legal fights starting at Eunice, Hobbs, Clovis, Lee, and Roosevelt counties. It's not quite David and Goliath, but these are notably smaller communities. Do you know what I mean? With notably smaller budgets to fight these kind of things. you know, who's going to pay for these massive tabs of legal representation? Has this come up at all in any of these arguments?
It did come up in Edgewood, and that's the only meeting I actually attended. And actually, Jonathan Mitchell, who is the attorney who works with Mark Lee Dixon in Texas, he has actually offered his services pro bono.
Oh,
and
no kidding.
The commissioner.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
And the commissioners did vote to accept that help. Of course, he's not licensed in New Mexico, so he does have to work with a New Mexico
Gotcha.
attorney, but they said that that would
Did
also.
he say that? Because many Texas attorneys are licensed and vice versa.
And vice
Yeah,
versa,
it did
right,
come up that he
exactly.
works with another attorney kind of based out of Albuquerque, who I think also is doing it pro bono, though I'm not 100% on
That
that.
would
but
be
yeah.
my guess, is
yeah.
there is a local attorney also.
Yeah.
And then also the city attorneys with Edgewood
Oh,
as
that's a good point,
well,
too.
or
Yeah.
Eunice. Yeah, most
mean,
of those folks have.
You
city
see where I'm getting at,
attorneys.
Martha? This could tie up a small community solely for a long time. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
it
And
could.
choke out other things you need to do.
Yes, it could. And I want to go back to who was in the audience, because the majority were from outside that were in favor of this, and
Right.
the actual citizens that would have to pick up the tab were evenly divided. And something tells me that if they really start looking at what it's going to cost, and not just in money, but lack of services. Let's say your sidewalk cracks or your street is torn up and you can't get a pothole fixed because they don't have any money. They got to pay for this abortion fight.
Right.
I think people are going to start to rethink that. And probably they are already rethinking, why are outsiders coming into our community and trying to tell us what is best for us?
Well, Lisa snagged a quote from Commissioner Philandro Anaya. You know, they're basically using us as a pawn as part of the quote. That's interesting, you know, when you think about that. Yeah.
But that's not unusual.
Okay.
In Texas, there are pro-choice groups trying to do the same kind of thing.
Right.
The city of Austin is one we discussed
Sure.
several
What
weeks
Dot
ago.
inside
exactly
of it.
are they doing?
Trying to do it through municipalities.
Do it
Make change
what?
to the Texas law. So,
Oh,
in
gotcha.
yes, it's just people. We're reversing the groups in their standings from New Mexico to Texas. It's not just the people in New Mexico that are standing up and fighting for what they believe. And I don't know about who was in the audience, but I know lots of people from Hobbs and Clovis and Edgewood and those. They are that conservative. And I see what will happen is they make their stand, and then you end up before the Supreme Court, might be Indiana,
Right,
might be Texas, might be whoever, and our cities and communities will end up filing amicus briefs.
I see.
They will not.
Yep.
They will
They
not
won't
have
lead
to
it,
go.
right.
They will not be spending
That's
as
right.
much money.
That's a fair
in
point.
the state,
Yep.
yes, but not outside.
Let me a quick question. It's a little bit of time here.
Sure, sorry.
Martha, I want to start with you. According to a new report last month from the Society of Family Planning, there's been a dramatic drop in abortions nationwide since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. 32,000 fewer between July and December of last year. First, are you buying those numbers? Second, do you see a similar drop because of these muni ordinances? Are these going to contribute to the dropping of abortions in those
I
places?
think they will in some cases, Gene.
Okay.
Think about what it costs to come from Texas,
Right.
even just right across the border.
That's right.
Gasoline is $60 a tank. You got to eat. In many cases, you have to spend the night.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get childcare if you've already got kids. There are lots of expenses when you have to travel. And if you have to travel really long distances, yeah. But what people miss is that's what is contributing to the drop in abortions. It's not because people are changing their mind and the need for abortion is going away or the support for it is going away. What's happening is it's getting too expensive to get.
Yeah. Thank you to each of our panelists this week. We know this is a deep and emotional topic for everyone involved. We appreciate your help presenting it to the state. For you watching at home, be sure to let us know what you think about any of the topics The Line covered on our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram pages. And catch up on any episode you may have missed on the PBS app, your Roku, or your smart TV.